we've basically been complaining, we've mourned, and we've, constantly been worried about the constant delay when it comes to prosecution of cases within the country. One civil case can take 5 years, 10 years, 15 years for it to be prosecuted. In fact, some days you may even end up being in court, and then before you realize, you even grow old, and then the whole court case becomes, non-factual. So basically, we notice a phenomenon whereby our courts are constantly choked. Our courts are constantly filled with cases. There's constantly a backlog of cases within our court system, which leads to constant delay when it comes to prosecution. And I want to state categorically that His Excellency President Mahama is not in any way altering the judiciary. Okay, what we are doing is actually completing and augmenting the judicial system of Ghana. Now, Article 126 of the Constitution clearly states that there's a provision made for regional and district tribunals within our constitution. So I'm very surprised at the cries and moans by our colleagues in the MPP. And in fact, I don't understand where their cries and moans are coming from, because if there's a law within the constitution and you know clearly that you haven't abused any laws within the constitution, I don't understand where the cries are coming from. You understand? This is a reformer tribunal. It is not something that was existed within the 1980s as they've made it to seem. In fact, in the 1980s, we were in a military regime, so obviously things were much different then. Now, the tribunal systems that we are going to, experience is going to be quite different. In that, first of all, it's constitutional. It's not something that we are picking out of the blue. It is within the Constitution. In fact, Article 126 of the 1992 Constitution clearly mandates and states the rules and regulation with regards to the implementation of the tribunals. Now, also, it's going to improve access to justice. Now, you realize that there are some farmers, maybe in the districts, in the rural areas, which maybe they have a legal case, a legal matter, and then they have to come to the cities in order to prosecute, in order to have their legal cases heard. So you realize that what happens is they end up having to spend a lot of money on transportation. It ends up affecting their...
But isn't that where the district courts, and there are district courts, there are circuit courts, there are high courts in all of these regions as well?
Yes.
That should be able to take care of all of that.
Yeah, so these, circuit courts, district courts and all that are in existence. But what's happening is there's been a constant backlog of cases. For example, one case can take more than 5 years, more than 10 years for it to go through the thorough legal process for a verdict to be passed. So you realize that this is going to help speed up and expedite legal matters, and then basically going to improve the legal sector.